Hello and welcome to Connotation Points Video Snark. I'm continuing my sarcastic book review of The Mister by E.L. James. Not the first video, go check out the others, links are posted below, Chapter 19. The next morning, Elisa wakes up to Max on the phone with somebody. He tells her to dress warmly and to braid her hair. They drive out to one of the farmers where they meet up with the estate's gamekeeper. Max explains that they're going to be shooting clay discs and asks Elisa if she's ever used a gun before. She says no, but that her dad has, says that there are wolves in Albania. As the gamekeeper explains basic gun safety to Elisa, Max gets out the old family heirloom hunting gun, and then because everything reminds him of Kit, the gun makes him sad. The gamekeeper then launches some of the clays into the air, and Max thinks about his real reason for wanting to do this, because Elisa is better at him at pretty much everything and he wants to show off a little. Max later praises her, stating that a 50% hit rate for her first time isn't bad. As they get packed up, Max takes the gun from the gamekeeper so that he can maintain it at the house where they're staying at. Max continues to feel bad about not telling Elisa who he is, but just as he's about to tell her, a deer randomly shows up and distracts them. She's apparently never seen one before and is completely enchanted by the sight of it. Max decides to tell her later. Even more later, as they're lying in bed and Elisa is dozing, he thinks about the problem of wanting to tell her, but somehow being unable to. He thinks about his mother's constant warnings about gold diggers, but when he compares Elisa's behavior about not wanting him to spend money on her, he thinks that she lacks the motivation to be a gold digger by not wanting to dig gold. Max wakes up the next morning to a call from the lady who lives next to his apartment in London. She says that she thinks that his place was broken into, because we all knew it was coming. Chapter 20. The neighbor goes on to explain to Max that she noticed that the door was open a little bit, so she poked her head in and saw that the place was trashed. She thought about calling the police, but decided to call him instead. Max thanks her and hangs up. He knows that he doesn't keep important stuff just sitting around and worries about them making off with his safe. But he's also not thinking about what I'm certain is his expensive belongings, the paintings on the walls, the pots and pans, the knife set. I'm also wondering what Dante's end goal in this was. Did he seriously think that Elisa would just be lounging around on Max's sofa eating chocolates or something? Furthermore, way to draw unnecessary attention to yourself by breaking in. Dante didn't know that Max had an interest in Elisa, but now Max is going to turn his full attention onto Dante. Dante must have known that Max was wealthy, if only by the apartment building alone. I know that criminals aren't exactly intelligent, but this is bottom of the barrel as far as IQ points go. Max leaves the room to go call Oliver about the break-in. Oliver promises to head over there and call Max with more information as soon as possible. He goes back to the room and tells Elisa that he needs to go do something without telling her what it is. As Max leaves, Elisa ponders over Max, saying that he might have to go back to London. Obviously, she doesn't want that because it not only means facing the reality of Dante, but also the fact that Magda will have already moved and put Elisa out onto the street. She knows she can't avoid going back forever, but had kind of just hoped, if only for a moment, that it would have gone away. We briefly jump over to Max as he goes to the main house and explains to somebody there that his apartment is broken into and he's expecting a call from Oliver. And then we jump back to Elisa, except that we only just see her showering and being anxious over having been left alone. Okay. Back over with Max, we see the extent of the damage. Expensive camera equipment was not taken, which surprises me and relieves Max. However, shoes and clothing appear to have been taken. Photos, record albums, and the laptop were smashed, which again seems like you can get more money for the pawned laptop, but whatever. Max thinks that in his rush to chase after Elisa, he forgot to set the alarm. Oliver says that it never went off, although the people forced the door open. Oliver hangs up when the police show up. We jump back to Elisa for some more. She's alone and jumping at every little noise. Whee! This is so much fun. Max sits down to breakfast with the house staff. They all ask about the break-in, and Max says that he'll know more from Oliver after he finishes speaking with the police. Danny the cook says that two unsavory characters came by in search of Max the day before. We jump back to Elisa as she realizes that Dante and... nope, still not with that name. And Dante's friends show up at the house. And here we go, the big finale! Except that there's still quite a lot of chapters left, so it can't possibly be the end just yet. Thanks for listening to my Book Snark on YouTube. New videos are up every Monday, but stick around because sometimes I drop random videos on other days too. You can like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you don't miss a single video. While you're waiting for the next video, you can go check out all my other videos. If you're already caught up with all of my videos, you can go to Tumblr for my main Book Snarks, always free and updated every morning. And if you've already read all of my main Snarks, then you can find even more Snarks on my Patreon. You can access it for $1 a month. Plus, you get early access to my main Tumblr Snark. Special thanks to Dawn, Phoebe, and Nikki for supporting me on Patreon already. If you want to hear your name in my video next week, you either support me on Patreon or make a one-time donation. Do you like my Snark so much that you want me to snark your writing? I do that too. For just $3 per chapter, I will tell you how awful that your writing is. But not to worry if you feel like you couldn't take the criticism. I also offer regular book editing as well, $3 for every 5,000 words. You can contact me on Tumblr if you have further questions. If you want to read some of the things that I've written, you can purchase my works on Amazon. I have 19 erotic short stories, 1 short story collection, and 1 full-length novel. I also sometimes run flash sales on my stories, and if you don't follow me on any social media, you might want to do so just so you know when I might be offering more things for free. Links for everything will be posted below. See you next week, guys!